sending it round yet, actually. But morning. Okay, might as well make a start on 11 now. So, I'm going to make a start today on Ajax, having last week covered the basics of using servlets and Tomcat, and hopefully had a few little mini exercises like setting up a servlet and JSP. There's a couple of points I just want to show that hopefully came out in some of the exercises. Before I sort of move on to what we're doing today. The slides, as usual, just available just in that sort of section, being your main sort of printout for it. The sorts of things that we've been looking at in a server with our initial servlets have been things like this little diagram here, where you've got a client putting in a request to the server, perhaps to dig into a database. That servlet might be digging into a database, getting some results back. But the way in which it communicates its data back to the client, because the client's essentially in a browser, is that so far we've been generating an HTML page. And the server has been responsible for building up that HTML, generating a nice bit of HTML to it, whether it's been done in a servlet or in a JSP page, doesn't particularly matter. But the server's been responsible for generating that HTML and sending it back to the client. And all the client's responsible to do is to take that HTML and nicely render it. That's what a browser does for it. That's a standard, what we call common gateway interface to using it. Doesn't matter whether you're using a servlet, PHP, whatever. They all sort of they can all sort of work in that way. What we're going to look at with a web service, and the sort of essential part of your assignment, is that the client will put in a request to the server to get the same set of results. Those results will go back, but not in a format that the browser can use immediately, not in a pre-rendered format. You'll give them back just the actual data for it, structured in some way to easily access, so it'll be structured in XML or JSON in some way, or perhaps some sort of special string where you've got sort of like comma delimited or tab delimited, and you send that back to the client, and it'll be up to the client then to be able to assemble that page from the data in whatever way it sees fit to it. Because quite often with that first approach, if the server's generating the HTML, the client doesn't get a say in how that page looks. So whatever the server says to how that page should look, that's how they get it. The idea behind a web service is that you're providing access to some sort of data that you've got. That web service might be, say, something simple like a credit card validation, or looking up some flight prices or something like that, or doing a search and getting some of the results of the search back. You send those responses back to the user to assemble themselves, and this client is just basically using you as a service to get that data, not really to display that data. And we've got used to using that sort of thing quite a lot. For example, Google. When you start using Google and you start doing a search for it, even there I've just clicked in the search box and there's a few things that it's come up with. Well, what are you likely to search for? These actually are the last 6 or so searches that I've been doing. So Google's trying to guess what I'm likely to be searching for. But as soon as I start typing something, and we're all interested in fluffy cats. So as soon as you do a C, they say, well, let me guess at the things that beginning with C that you might be interested in, or CA. And as you're doing the individual letters, it's changing that little drop-down list to guess at what you want. So I'm up to cats. Yeah, and okay, well, there's a few sort of cats in there, space, and I'll start to type fluffy, and then get the cats for sale, cats for whatever, cats FL, I'll get cat fleas, cat flying, but it's trying to guess what I'm doing for it. Now what's actually happening there is that as I type it in, that little section gets sent off to Google. It doesn't have, the browser doesn't have this whole list of every single possible search. I mean, that's an infinite list of whatever people can type in. Every time you do a key press, it's going off to Google. Google's sort of doing, well, what's the most common searches beginning with cats FL? And it's sort of finding that and then sending you back some data, but it's not sending you back the whole page. It's just sending you back some raw structured data where the browser then fills in this little drop-down list. It creates a drop-down list on the fly to sort of, so that if you like, I could use my down arrow and start sort of going into to sort of getting that one. Or as I start off, oh no, finally with my cats FLU, my fluffy cats come up, and nobody can resist a fluffy cat. So I go off and drag my pictures coming back sort of for it. So there's nothing, actually, it's not generating, that full page has been generated. When I finally did say, go off and get me fluffy cats, that URL at the top is my full sort of search page, and it's rendered that whole screen. Yeah, and that's sort of available. You use it, I mean, it's not just Google, everybody's sort of doing it. Like search, say a flight search engine or a holiday search engine, where you're deciding that you want to fly from, say, Bangkok, and I might want to go, where am I sort of going from there? Let's find somewhere beginning with V. And as I'm typing the airport in, any airport that's got the letter V in, or VE for it, might want to be going to Venice. Yeah, and sort of, yeah, already I've got my VEN sort of appearing. And again, it's a similar thing, that as you're typing it in, it's going off and searching for all airports in this case it's airports, because that's the to and from part to it. It's going off finding anything that mentions VEN for it to sort of get back. And coming back, I'm populating, in this case again, a drop-down list for this sort of section to be able to display. But it's the browser that's doing that bit of displaying. The server has just sent back this structured list of airports that mention VEN in this case, and left it to the browser to decide what to do with it. Now, if you know that, that's how you get these travel comparison sites, and so long as a particular flight provider there might be many of these, you could put in a request to multiple servers, get back the data on flights between Venice and Bangkok, and sort of choose between the best of them, or recommend which one to use from there. And that's exactly what's happening when you choose something like, okay, let's choose Venice. Might not be that many. Valid depart date. Let's put in a couple of departure things.